to the 21st century church and to all present and future church in all nations. Let me pray with you. Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. As the Lord Jesus Christ taught his first disciples, he says clearly, whatever happened in heaven, it will be done on earth. And this is exactly what the last disciples of Jesus Christ that remain on earth, the last one, who has always been John of Patmos Island, everything that happened in heaven was brought to him in visions, in dreams, in heaven, from heaven, in heavenly shape, that he communicated with 7 churches in Asia. Now in his writings, he also addressed to churches of all nations. And he gave future hope to all churches in all nations. And that includes all little islands, every continent, bigger continents, small continents, and all churches that have been spread out on all little islands, every ocean on earth. Now I would like to simplify what the book of Revelation, the whole entire book of Revelation, with all the signs and spiritual imagery, the shapes that every imagery has taken, everything I will sum it up into one word. So let me pick up a reference that will make it easier to you all to understand from Revelation chapter 11. Please read chapter 11 from verse 1 to 19, but I will read the first one and the last one. So the first verse I read, I was given a reed like a measuring rod, and was told, go and measure the temple of God, comma the altar with its worshippers. And the last verse, 19, says, then God's temple in heaven was open, and within his temple was seen the ark of his covenant. And there came flashes of lightning, rumblings, peals and thunder, an earthquake, and a severe hailstorm. What do you think the book of Revelation is all about? It is about worship. The encounters of worship. This is all. This is all it is, the book of Revelation. The book of Revelation reveals how the encounters of the worshippers of Christ, what shape it has taken in heaven, and what is expected to happen on earth, exactly like that. Now, of course, heavenly shapes is different from earthly shapes, but exactly what happens there is gonna happen, reflect on earth in earthly shape. That's all it is. This is all it is. We have 7 signs of conflicts that the 7 churches back then in the first century that they were encountering, and the warnings of those signs of encounters that the future church in all nations the same encounter they're gonna encounter. And we all, believers of Christ, worshippers of Christ, we have seen, we have testified, we have encountered all of his signs. Here the spiritual imagery in heavenly shape that was given in the book of Revelation. We have between chapter 12 and chapter 13, we have the woman clothed with the sun, the great red dragon, the beast from the sea, the beast from the land, signs performed by the land beast, the power of the land beast coming from the sea beast, the false prophet. And those are the signs that the believers of Jesus Christ have been encountering since then. Now, what is the purpose of these encounters? Obviously, is to keep the faithful believers and followers of Christ separated from Christ, God. It comes in various shapes: war, politics, culture, age, social effect, social, activities, you name it. Physical, mental, spiritual, emotional, in so many shapes, so many different directions. But the purpose of those encounters is to keep the followers and faithful believers of Christ separate from Christ. And in the end, chapter 21 and 22, we read how God is going to set apart church, community of faith, people of God, believers of Christ, worshippers of Christ, set them apart from the world. The world separated by God. And this is a solution that God gives to all of us, followers, believers of Christ, is to set apart from the world. Culture, age, gender, the social setting, social rank, fashion, fame. We don't rely on these other ways or the solution to our problems of worship, because none of these are static. They always change. We cannot rely on the path of going through the path of culture to bring people to Christ and expect that the people will keep up with the faith. We don't go through age, gender to reach out to bring people to Christ and to expect them to keep up the faith, because all these changes. All these issues, all these categories, they change. They don't remain static. Culture change, fashion change, age change, social rank change, politics change. But you know what remains still? What remains the same? Is Christ's word to the world. On these words, I wish you all a blessed day.